Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Not Your Average Mama. So if you haven't already watched part one of what's happening with Christopher and part two, then you will be lost. You might want to go back and watch those two videos. So we did get to go home on 4th of July, but sadly we are back. We went home on the 4th in the early afternoon, and now we came back on the 7th. He wasn't improving whatsoever. He started to lose his appetite again, and his fever got higher. So they said if his fever was 101 or lower, then he would be okay. Just give him Tylenol and let the fever pass. The fever went up to 102.7 on the 7th. So I called the hospital and they said to give him some Motrin and get the fever down. So I did that. I only had one Motrin pill at the house, so I ran to Walgreens to get another bottle, and by the time I got back it had already went down to 100. Well, with the decreased appetite and the bottom drain was kind of leaking. There was no drain there, it's just like a little hole, like a little wound, I guess. So I took the dressing off to let it air out, and it was leaking the day before, and he had thrown up one time. So I told them all those things, plus his color was getting a little more pale. So after telling them all of those things, they told me they would give me a call back and consult with the surgery team. Well, they did that, and they told me to just come on over to the hospital and have him be admitted again, and they needed to do another more in-depth CT scan. So that's what we did last night. We got here, they admitted us, put us in a room, started having him drink what they call contrast, which is just a liquid that lets them see better with the CT scan. They didn't get to do that till like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. That's because the contrast, normally they give him the contrast, wait 2 hours for it to get all the way in his system, and then they do the CT scan. But because they wanted to make sure it went all the way through his digestive system, then his they waited 2 hours, came and did an x-ray. Then it wasn't deep enough in his system yet, so they came back and did another x-ray an hour later, and they did that 3 times. Then they did the CT. They came back this morning and said he's going to have surgery. So what they're going to do with the surgery is they're going to go in, and ideally they're just going to remove his appendix and clean out the abscess that has reformed according to the CAT scan they did last night. And there is a new abscess behind his colon. So they're going to go in and try to clean all that out and remove the appendix. The only issue with that is they cannot go in like they normally would take your appendix out nowadays. They go in with a scope, and it's very like minimally invasive, but now they can't do it that way because they have to go in and clean him out. So they're going to have to cut him open to get the appendix out, clean everything out. Then if all of the intestines are in good health, they'll be able to sew them back up. No problem. We're done. He'll just have to heal from the surgery, and we'll be able to go home. The next issue they might have when they get in there is that his intestines is still inflamed. So they won't be able to sew his intestines back up from removing the appendix if it's inflamed. So we're hoping that that's not the case. The other thing is if he has any kind of what they're calling disease, so if he has like Crohn's disease or any other bowel disease or intestinal disease, then they're not going to be able to sew him back up. They're going to have to give him a colostomy bag and then come back in a few weeks after he heals a little bit, and then they'll be able to remove the colostomy bag and go from there. They can't do surgery today. This is the 8th. They're going to have to wait until Wednesday. So this is Monday the 8th, and they're going to have to wait till Wednesday. So he's scheduled for surgery on Wednesday. They haven't given me a time yet. He just has an IV in right now. He can't have any food. He has to have clear liquids only, which he's very, very upset about. Even though he barely has an appetite, he still wants his food. I don't blame him. If you're on my Facebook, I do try to update as much as possible. and I'm only going to put out a video on YouTube if it's necessary. This one was necessary because I know everybody was waiting on a welcome home video, and we just didn't make it that far because we were only home for a couple of days. So if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will try to keep everybody updated, and I hope you enjoy the fireworks courtesy of Boxy Park right here in Orlando. We were watching them on the 7th through our room window. Bye.